part of me, the way I see it is, China became a behemoth because of us. And if you take us out, what Nixon did, first time a president visits China in 25 years after the terrible relations, he goes and he opens it up with the ping-pong diplomacy deal, whatever that they had. For 25 years, no president had ever gone to China for 25 years. Relations weren't good. We didn't, So then he goes in. Then 2001, the Clinton deal that gets done under Bush. You take us out, who's China? They needed us to become. It's almost like somebody gave them credibility.
Yeah.
It's like all the other countries around the world. Who's willing to give China a reference? Call U.S. Yes, you can do business with them. All right, we're doing business with China. And you forget that?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. In fact, that's my earlier point. And it took a while, you see. So if the U.S. policy had changed a bit earlier, it could be a totally different story. But it's happening now when China has, and partly thanks to this, policy, it was Nixon, President Nixon and Henry Kissinger and the strategy they had with China. They did a lot to put that in motion. And then China, you see, of course, why was China then so successful? Because it's one thing to get the right environment and get the U.S. market, but you also have to deliver. And they managed to deliver because Deng Xiaoping came to power in 1978. That's really when it took off. He was very pragmatic, and Trump would have liked him because he was a pragmatist and not ideological. He said, well, let's forget about this ideology. Obviously, he's talking about the communist ideology. He couldn't say it directly, but really that's what he was saying. Let's do what works, what delivers, and let's actually find out what sort of policies deliver. Now, he looked across the China Sea and saw Japan doing extremely well, 20 years of double-digit economic growth, 15% growth. That means every 4.5 years you double national income, and then you double it again the next 4.5 years. And that's what Japan did. That's how you move from being a less developed country, a developing country, to developed country status in a generation. They did it. And he said, well, I want to do the same. He went to Japan in the first year when he took power, 78, when he rose to power. And he asked the Japanese fairly openly, although he was sure to meet for dinner, drink the sake and the motai, it works, magic. And the Japanese, he told them, tell me the secret of your 15% growth for 2 decades. Tell me the secret. I want to do the same. And you know what? If you do this in Japan, if you ask sincerely, off the record, at a dinner with a bit of sake, they will tell you the truth. And the truth was, they asked him, so how many banks do you have? And he responded, well, banks, we have one. It's a Soviet system, one bank. I mean, the Soviet Union, they call it Gosbank, the monobank system, central planning. And the Japanese must have laughed. One bank. China is so big at the time, I don't know, 600 million people perhaps at that time. You need 5,000 banks at least. Because, why? Because growth means more transactions this year than last year. That means more money is used for transactions this year than last year. Wow. That's only possible if you've got more money creation. But if you've got one institution to create all the money, the central bank is not going to work because that's central planning, and central planning actually doesn't work. So you need decentralized money creation. And that means, because who creates money is actually the banks. So you want 5,000 banks. Instead of 5 people at the central bank deciding how much money to create and who to give it to, why don't you have 5,000 banks in 35 branches with 30 loan officers each receiving, small local banks receiving the loan applications from small and medium-sized enterprises? Then you have 5 million loan officers doing the job instead of 5 people at the central bank.
Get out of here. This is a documented story?
That's the truth. That's the secret. Actually, I published it in 2 academic journals recently. That's the secret of the Chinese success.
Well, the secret goes to his diplomacy. Good for him.
Yeah.
So he went to Japan, that they're whooping on him, and he asked them, what's the secret? And they 5,000 banks, 5,000 loan officers, 5 million loan officers.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And of course, you get a multiple of that in loan applications, maybe 50 million, 100 million loan applications, but it's local. And you have so many loan officers, they actually because it's local and these are small amounts, but that's more efficient, you see, and more resilient, more stable. They go and kick the tires, they check the loan application, they only give the loan when it makes some sense. Of course, there's always some mistakes, but if you do this in overall, and small firm lending is actually the safest form of lending. You never have an asset bubble and a banking crisis from small firm lending. There's never been a small firm lending banking crisis. That's how you get productive credit creation, which gives you economic growth. And that's how China managed to have 15% economic growth for 4 decades, doubling what Japan did. For 4 decades, 15% growth.
Were they allies in 78?
Sorry?
Were they allies in 78?
No, not at all.
They were enemies.
Japan has been in the U.S. camp, U.S. troops in Japan. But you see, this is Asia. So if you meet like this sincerely, and you meet and then you discuss off the record with some, alcohol for dinner, they're people. They want to be helpful and friendly, and particularly, the Japanese, they love to tell you the truth if you ask off the record after hours. That's why they have to work such long hours, because during the day you have to tell the official story, which is not true.
So let me ask you. So what? If you enjoyed today's podcast and you would like to find a way to connect with the guests, all you have to do is download the app Connect, scan this QR code, or click on a link on the description, and you'll be able to ask them a question, an audio, video, or even have a 15-minute call with them. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.